coming back from my vacation in Florida. We took an Uber from the airport to get back to our house. And we noticed something strange off to the right of the car. The Uber driver mentioned they're building something in your city. I was like, that looks a little strange. That doesn't look like normal buildings. And they were repeating over and over, and it was quite large. I'm like, what is this? He says, well, Google's building something in your city. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. What are they building? Of course, I start to look it up on my phone. I'm like, what is this? They're trying to hire new people. They got engineers and all these other people. Oh, we find out what it is. It's a AI center. Of course it is. A data one, as you can imagine. And of course, then I went and I saw today a video from my old friend KJ at the Scariest Movie Ever channel. He noticed something strange about a few of these companies. Not particularly the one in my city per se, but these other ones. Naming a lot of things after gods. Greek gods. And actually terms literally in Ephesians 6. We're talking what they describe as the fallen angels. Okay? They're literally, some of these companies are naming their centers after texts that directly refer to the devil. Well, that's kind of weird. That kind of piqued my interest a little bit. We're going to get into that in this video. I had to, honestly, I feel like I'm back from the dead. Although I'm speaking figuratively here. I had so many things I was doing to my channel. I changed a bunch of stuff. I changed it back because it wasn't working. So if you had issues trying to make comments on my channel, now you won't have as many issues. I fixed it, put it back to basic comments because it was not working. And it was like hindering my videos, actually. It was kind of messed up. And I also did some other changes. I'm trying to get my channels on the right track. I want to go forward and do some awesome stuff here, my friends. And we're going to get into a ton of stuff in this video. We got robots fighting like they're in the UFC. We got Flock, not exactly like being monitored like they monitor us. That's kind of weird. We're going to get into that. We got what's going on in China, which kind of relates to all this as well. Actually, all the stuff's tied. And we got, of course, these wonderful centers being named after fallen things. Yeah, we're going to get into all this. And also, we'll just start off with this. This doesn't sound like it's related, but kind of like an us versus them thing going on here. You've heard of this lady named Sunny Huston from The View. Apparently, her son just got in trouble. She is from the TV show The View. I'm sure you've heard of her. And her son just got arrested. Of course, a little bit of hypocrisy. No one is above the law. Also, Sonny, how can you arrest my son? I'm a former federal prosecutor, and he went to Harvard. Of course, you got TMZ. Showing us, I probably can't play very much of this, but...
Hi. What's going on? He was walking along tracks. On a run, on a walk, and gate was open. I was like, oh.
Oh, he went into someone's gate. He just walked in. It was totally harmless, meaningless, you know what I mean? We don't know if there was anything really, but I mean, the fact is, knowing she was a former federal prosecutor, knowing kind of her credentials, it probably has to be at least something sort of significant, or he probably wouldn't have got arrested, right? If it was just some weird, oh, I walked into the wrong place, probably wouldn't have arrested him. So I'm thinking more happened here than that. Maybe they're just playing it off as if that's all that happened. But there is this sort of feeling, us, rules for thee, but not for me. You know that whole thing? Kind of noticed that over the last few years, particularly. You and I, we get arrested for anything. Anything. And you're going to see that with these Flock guys in a second here. We're going to show you that too. Oh yeah, it's pretty interesting actually. But when it comes to those that are up high, nothing seems to happen to them. Doesn't matter what they've done wrong. Could be 40, people just disappeared around them. Doesn't mean anything. Oh, nothing happened, of course. But you and I will be in trouble if for simple things like taking a candy bar, right? Whatever it might be. Something very simple. I'm going to show you kind of how the flock are doing the exact same thing in a second here. First, I wanted to show you robots fighting. I thought this was pretty funny. Elon tweeted this out. Apparently, where is this, in China? I saw them using robots for dancing and stuff. Now they're using them for mixed martial arts, apparently. What the heck, bro? His head's falling off. The robot's head. Look at his head's just barely hanging on there. I think they're both blind because neither one of them's really doing anything there. They don't even know where, maybe the other one's lost its sight too or something. I don't know what's going on here. Oh, so stupid. But this is, at least that's one, I mean, sort of benign use of AI maybe in robots, unlike some of these other ones. You have here Flock apparently doesn't like being monitored while they monitor you. Check this out.
Are you with Flock?
No, there's a construction firm I work with, CSD.
This man, James Boyce, is a former British Army veteran and a current Flock supply chain manager. Not only did he lie about working for Flock, which I'm guessing is probably normal at this company, but he also implied to Georgia law enforcement that I could have been armed, and we'll soon see if that puts my life in danger. You guys have done nothing wrong. Actually, we've also done nothing wrong, and yet we're blockaded by a police officer. Are we being detained?
The manager wants to speak.
It's a yes or no question, sir.
You're going to wait here until the manager talks to you.
You're holding me until that guy talks, but you're not telling me if I'm going to be detained. Yeah, you are. Am I allowed to leave? Can I go in my car and leave? They are with Flock Safety. They just confirmed.
How you doing?
Hey,
I'm good.
what's up, brother?
Hi, how you doing, sir?
Good.
So, tell them what you need to tell. So, gentlemen, I just want to be very clear. There's a multi-tenant site here with a lot of people that are just trying to work. I've got yourself and everyone running in the street. I had to put my brakes on just to stop to make sure you're okay.
Are you safe right now, sir?
Well,
What the hell are they talking about? You had to make sure he was okay. You had to stop your brakes because he was standing near the road? What?
Right, so I just want to make sure. We've had reports that you've been to basically every Flock Safety site and facility that you know of. And
Correct.
Yeah, so
Your surveillance is correct. We're doing our own surveillance.
So people don't really feel safe right now with people randomly trying to get into our sites and buildings.
People don't feel safe when people are what? I don't think it's people. I think it's you and your company don't like it when people are looking into what you're doing, which is exactly what you're accusing them of doing.
Oh, wait, you don't feel safe being surveilled. Is that what you're saying?
Not at all, sir.
Because that's what you guys do to us without our consent.
Okay.
And I think it's interesting when you guys have this happen, you call the police and make us get stopped. But then you do it and it's okay?
I mean, our devices will call the police regard. What we'd like you to do is basically we're saying that you're trespassing on this site and we'd like you to leave peacefully.
After Flock called the police and had us detained, I immediately filed a public records request for the police reports and body cam footage. In Georgia, by law, a city or police department has 3 days to respond to a FOIA request.
This guy's on YouTube. I've actually played clips from his channel before. I can't remember his name though. But he covers this topic all the time. So you probably know him if you've looked up stuff on Flock or some of these centers. He covers this stuff a lot, extensively. But apparently he's going to sue him. So that's what's going on with that. I find it really interesting how Flock doesn't like being looked into by eyes while they're using their cameras on you and I without asking our permission. I find it really interesting. It seems like the last 15 years. Rules for thee, but not for me. Everywhere. Everywhere. You know, I find it really hilarious with regards to this company called Google, which happens to own this website here, because I remember when they were a nothing company. I remember looking at their website for the first time when it first came out, back in like the 90s, early 90s, when I was in college, and it was the ugliest website I ever saw in my life. All the other ones looked better. It looked like a little kid made it. But somehow they miraculously became one of the biggest search engines on the internet, which obviously it wasn't because of how they looked at the time, but because they had a great search engine at the time. And now I'm on one of their websites making videos, right? And it just seemed to me like they took advantage. Like a lot of these companies over the last 15, 20 years took advantage of us. How? By getting access to so much ridiculous amounts of data. And it just seemed a little bit skirting all the lines doing it. Getting photos of everything, accessing all your information, not really exactly asking, maybe a 50-page contract that you signed just so you could do something. They somehow got their legalese to get their access to all the information in the world. Flock, of course, taking photos of your car. Did they even ask you? When did you sign anything for that? This is what I'm talking about. It's kind of ridiculous if you ask me. How these companies got away with all of this. Because one person's not going to sue them. You need mass, it just seemed like they were taking advantage of a lot of things. Maybe I'm wrong, but it seemed like a lot of these companies were. Now, getting on to some of these other things. Look what's going on in China now. Tens of thousands of young Chinese people are becoming homeless because AI and robots are taking their jobs. That's kind of weird.
They didn't go broke, they got deleted. In China, tens of thousands of young people are suddenly homeless, not because of money, but because the system erased them.
Imagine a society where everything you do,
Oh yeah, of course it comes back to all of these cameras, and it comes back to your social, score. And if you jaywalked or you said something a little edgy online, or you didn't pay your taxes on time, or whatever the hell the reason was, their system decided they got a lower rating, and then the rating just kind of spiraled out of control. I mean, my son was watching this. I don't know if this really relates, but he loves Hell's Kitchen. He watches it all the time with Gordon Ramsay, right? And there's this one woman on there. She was a great cook. Like every episode, she was doing awesome. And in this one episode, she just kept screwing up. And she just kept screwing up over and over. And she 4 times in a row screwed up. It's because it kind of was a spiral down. It's like you screwed up. Your mind's in the wrong place. You just keep making bad mistakes. Next thing you know, you're the guy on the street because you had a low score. And they don't give a crap. You're there. And of course, at that point also, you got robots taking jobs, all this kind of stuff going on as well.
everything you say.
See what I mean? And so now you got all these people living on the street, and then some of them are doing deliveries. I heard these odd jobs that they take in China outside the system, kind of. You got all these girls streaming online, literally on the sidewalk. There's rows of women on the sidewalk. They have her social media account, they're streaming. And then there's all these guys with little mopeds going around delivering stuff. And apparently they deliver stuff to these women. Ironic, a lot of the time, not all the time, but obviously ironically. And this is how they're getting around this. And then they end up sleeping on the street because I think they save money. And in some cases, they just simply can't afford a place, or because their score's too low, or whatever it might be. So you got this weird new system being created around us. And KJ noticed that they're naming them after fallen angels. Well, that's kind of interesting. Let's hear what he had to say here. Oh, well, goodness, what did I just do? I had it in the right place. Okay, let's play it. Here we go.
The same entities that God sent the flood to destroy. That's not a coincidence, and it's not just cool-sounding names. They're telling you what they're building, all to get ready for the mass disappearance of human beings, let's say, the post-human existence coming on by the next world war and other factors. These data centers are being built to teach artificial...
This is interesting. Honestly, it's not as if there hasn't been a numerous amount of movies made on this topic. Matter of fact, right behind me, you got Terminator, right?
Intelligence how to control robot armies, just like the Terminator.
Look, of course they're not saying this. No one's saying this. Oh, we're not building these. Of course, if they were, would they tell you? Of course they're not going to tell you. I'm not saying they are. But it is kind of interesting how they're trying to sell us that AI is the future, that it's not going to take your jobs, it's going to make more jobs. And of course, it's going to start off really safe and good. It's going to be like robots that are weaker than you, they're slower than you, kind of like Elon was saying with his Tesla bots and stuff. Don't worry. Everything will be fine, right? Until there's a glitch, until there's a virus, until it gets out in the rain, or whatever the hell thing goes wrong. Or somebody decides, well, we need an upgrade for these robots, right?
Robots that can hunt people, identify targets, and take a life without waiting for a human to approve it. Here's one of the companies I'm talking about, Stratos. You can even see here they're showing you the grid they're creating all around the world, like Project Stargate AI. But it's interesting to keep in mind that Stratos comes from the ancient Greek Archistratos, where Archon means demonic ruler, and then Stratos means army.
So this is actually in the Greek. You can see it in the Bible itself. Stratos and Archon represent two distinct power. I'm using an AI to show you this. This is Google Gemini. It could be even from the data center. And they're not, actually, it's not done being built, but there's one in Fort Wayne where I live. Stratos and Archon represent two distinct, powerful AI technologies in different domains. Stratos is an enterprise business-to-business platform that uses purpose-built AI agents for data analysis, sales, infrastructure deployment. Archon is an open-source harness builder that structures AI coding assistance into reliable, repeatable workflows. Sounds very benign, right? Oh, it's just a workflow AI. Well, we saw what one benign AI did. It was able to find all these errors in operating systems that even the greatest humans couldn't discover in the last 30 years. And it did it in minutes. And it was taken off the market. Even our president made an executive order, I think, against it. Or he did something. He made him take it off the market because it was too powerful. Oh, wow. You think that's the last one? It's going to be too powerful? You don't think they're going to screw up somewhere along the lines? Kind of like this movie right here. You know what I mean? Like, this is so obvious. I mean, I was talking about this stuff 10, 20... KJ was as well, by the way. KJ was talking about this stuff a long time ago as well. But I was looking up... Are they named... Is this the one I did after... Yeah, down here. Let me show you this. What did I say? Archon comes from Ephesians 6 in Greek. Where does Stratos come from? You hit the nail on the head regarding Archon, which Ephesians 6 uses to describe spiritual rulers and principalities. It is a fascinating linguistic parallel because Stratos also comes directly from the ancient Greek, where its primarily meaning is army, military expedition, encamped host. Linguistic origin of Stratos breaks down through several layers. It is really strange how they always are taking these words from Scripture. And this isn't the only time we've seen this. Actually, we've seen this so many times, it's getting ridiculous. Not just with AI, but many other realms of the world we see around us. The root. The word stems from Proto-Indo-European root stare, which means to spread, stretch out, or extend. The concept, because of its root, Stratos, originally referred to camping army, literally a mass of soldiers. So you got that there. Are many data, of course, centers named after gods? Naming centers and cloud infrastructure after gods and mythological features is highly popular among tech giants. While physical data center buildings are typically named after their location of airport codes, the massive computing campuses and internal tech projects that fill them frequently draw on mythology. This is where we've seen this numerous places. Science. We've seen it with a lot of things. Meta AI campuses. Meta's massive AI data center. Campuses are named after the Greek mythological figures. For example, gigawatt scale cluster in New Albany, Ohio is named Prometheus. Prometheus, second generation Titan, which right now, by the way, right now my researcher's sick. If you could pray for him, he has the stomach flu. You know, you've been hearing about that in the news, right? I had it 3 weeks ago. For like 2 weeks straight, I couldn't even eat normal food. He's even worse off than I was, from what I could tell. It's really bad. My wife had it. Like, everyone's getting this. But he did a ton of research into these gods, these ancient Greek legends, which tie into books that have been sort of removed that surround Scripture that show you that these are actual real beings in some, or actually in many cases. You have Genesis Apocryphon. You have the Sibylline oracles, Sibylline Oracles talks about these beings as actual real beings. Sibylline Oracles also is a prophetic book that was used by John in Revelation, actually quoted. Most people don't have any idea about that, but the early Christians knew about the Sibylline Oracles. Almost no one today knows about them. And it talks about these beings. And if you look into them, you can actually see the genealogy and figure out who's who. Prometheus is likely what we call the devil today. He's a second generation Titan. He is the one who was the light bearer, the word Lucifer. Prometheus has the same sort of related history when you look into it, mythology. The Titan who gave humans fire, while its sibling campus is named Hyperion, a Titan associated with heavenly light. So, you got Microsoft projects. Microsoft Azure relies on mythological and astronomical code names such as Project Olympius, which is central to its open source cloud hardware development. OpenAI's infrastructure that was related to Project Star. The whole thing with Stargate, which our president signed in, I think it was January or something like that. OpenAI infrastructure, ambitious 10 billion custom AI chip program developed alongside partners Broadcom and Samsung is known as Project Titan. Okay, these are the beings. Okay, and if you tie the Greek mythology into scripture, which by the way was purposely separated because these other religions tie into these fallen beings. Okay, and you start looking at these ancient texts that were surrounded with scripture that everyone used to know about, that don't know about today, you can start connecting all the dots and seeing who these beings are. All right. So it's interesting how all these different projects have names that relate to this. And there's a guy underneath KJ's post here that points out something kind of interesting. These are just different, AIs and chatbots and other things, random stuff in AI. Lucifer HQ, Lucifer VA1, you got Azazel AI. These are, I think, are voice chats. I looked into it a little bit. You got disaster recovery, Abaddon. Of course, that's referring to like a massive catastrophe. You got Mammon, which Mammon actually is a false god. It's not saying God or Mammon. It doesn't mean God or money. It means God or a false god called Mammon who had to deal with money. Storage Archive, Edge Regional, Barakyo, Edge EU, Development Test, Belial, Dev or Lilith Test. So they have all these weird terms they use. Open source software tools, Azazel AI. You go down here and Abaddon DR that has to do with this disaster recovery. Term points directly to infrastructure security workflows. Refers to kind of like malware containment networks, destructive mythological entities, kind of like you're trying to contain it. Abaddon DR runbook usually refers to worst case scenario, infrastructure recovery plan, blast radius isolation for infrastructure, sandboxed AI. So it's kind of interesting how they have these containment sort of recovery plans that are named after these fallen beings. Okay, like they would use like an Abaddon AI to try to stop the Terminator here or something. You know what I mean? Like that's what we're talking about. Maybe not the Terminator, but you know what I mean. You got these all these different weird names. Beelzebub Labs, Azazel Runtime Tracer, Belial Dev Test directly maps to an automated sandbox validation pipeline or an environment initialization protocol within advanced AI and infrastructure security networks. They got devil names on everything. Like, what in the hell is going on here, right? It's like, what are we looking at here? And interestingly, of course, these tech billionaires want to build a massive Prometheus statue on Alcatraz Island in San Francisco. I mentioned that before. And as I mentioned, my research has looked quite extensively. He used to be in the occult himself, but now he's a Christian. Looked extensively into these various gods of the ancient past. Prometheus happens to be the one who's likely the devil himself. And of course, they want to build a statue to him. Crypto entrepreneur proposes colossal 450 meter statue of Prometheus for San Francisco Alcatraz Island. All these tech billionaires are fascinated with these god names. The great colossus of Prometheus on Alcatraz would be taller than a 305-foot Statue of Liberty. You got Liberty, which is also based off Libertas. But we're going to get into this more on another video. I just find it curious. Let's play a little bit more of what KJ had to say here. All right, check this out.
In Ephesians 6, Paul uses the word archons to describe the rulers, the authorities, the powers of this dark world, and the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. And that's biblical Greek for demons, the principalities running the fallen world system. And here we find it with Stratos.
It is really weird. I mean, your mind goes this direction, and it's like, no, of course it's not this. Of course they're not building something that could turn nefarious later. Of course not. I mean, honestly, anybody who's really just being arbitrarily logical about this, you're going to have to ask yourself, what are they really building? Where is this all going? You got the Prometheus from Jeff Bezos. Again, Prometheus is likely the devil. Of course, there's more than one devil. There's Azazel. There's 5 Satans according to the Book of Enoch. I mean, the devil we know of, the common version of the devil, is probably Prometheus. I mean, there's obviously other ones, but you get the point, right? That's the entire point.
Was a Titan in Greek mythology, known for defying the Olympian gods by stealing fire and giving it to humanity.
Kind of like the Garden of Eden there. Probably is the exact same being. This is an AI photo. Stratos, Hyperion. So, of course, it really makes you wonder, because you have all these things being built. And, of course, oh, it's just benign. It's to help you do searches on the internet. That's all it is. Nothing else going on here, folks. Nothing at all. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, and thanks for watching.